So we had a brief look at the spine. I'm going to do 10-minute slots on the different sections. So let's start with the bottom of the spine. Let's start with the structure of the pelvis, the sacrum, the coccyx. This will be all of the area here, this orange section, these white sections, these are your iliums, and the whole of this area protects your pelvic organs. So this pelvic bowl area has your pelvic organs inside. This hole here has the pelvic diaphragm across it that hold your pelvic organs up. It's very important to have a strong pelvic floor. This at the front here is your pubic symphysis, and these bones here are your sitting bones, your ischial tuberosities. It's very important that when you sit, that you weight bear directly down through the centre of those points, as that is the most efficient way of supporting your spine. So we have different pelvic postures. So some of us have an anteriorly tilted posture where the sitting bones kind of move back and the front of the iliums roll forward. This is the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine, and you might have stretchy hamstrings, you might have very strong hip flexors if you've got an anteriorly tilted pelvis, and you might have a little bit more lumbar lordosis here. Some of us are posteriorly tilted, which is the opposite, where your sitting bones sort of tuck under. You might have a very, very strong rectus abdominal muscle here, and the lumbar spine might be a little bit more flattened out. That's not good, because that means that you're putting a lot of compression on the discs, and the transmission of forces up and down your spine is very jarring. So we would really like to have that lumbar curve, but obviously we won't want to be too anteriorly or posteriorly tilted in the pelvis. We'd like to be neutral, which is the most efficient posture. And so looking at the sacrum, you've got fused vertebra here, and where your iliums connect to your sacrum, you've got what we call the sacroiliac joints, the SI joints. Now, there's very little movement in the SI joints, but there is some. So when we were to squeeze the sitting bones together, and you could do that by, if you were standing up, pulling your heels together and your toes out and squeeze your glutes, that's going to pull the iliac crests closer together. So this back bit, the posterior superior iliac spine, squeezes together. If you were to turn your toes in and your heels out and try and spread your sitting bones, that opens up the SI joints a little bit, not very much, tiny. So a bit of in-out movement, flexibility of these joints. All right. There is a tiny bit of movement in the sacrum, which we call nutation and counter-nutation. So when you bend forward, what happens is the sacrum pops out a little bit, and that's called nutation. All right, and vice versa, when you lean back, your sacrum pops in a bit, and that's called counter-nutation. So that movement, nutation and counter-nutation, causes a bit of wear and tear on the joints of the sacroiliac. These are synovial joints, they're not fibrous joints. You've got a really, really thick bone in this. This is the sacrum. The sacral bone is the thickest bone in the body. It's the fulcrum. All of your weight of your upper body bears down through this area, and so it can be put under a lot of strain, and we can get sacroiliac joint disorder, where this joint wears out a bit and can cause inflammation and pain. So It is possible to relocate and realign the sacroiliac joints if they become disjointed or dysfunctional. And our yoga practice can be very helpful in maintaining good alignment in these joints. It is possible for your sacroiliac joints to be both mutated on one side, so if I were to step forward with my left leg, there would be a bit of mutation on the left side, and if my right leg was stepping back, be a bit of counter mutation on the right side, and you would see that in lunges in yoga. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next stage. As I say, I can only do short videos, so let's pause there and move up to the lumbar.